I want to bring in right now Investopedia editor-in-chief Caleb Silver. Caleb, as you're listening to this breaking news, what is your reaction to the strike? And also, I'm going to ask you, what do you think the impact is going to be for Americans across this country?
Yeah, I'm in Charleston, South Carolina right now, about 5 minutes from that port, and it is a pretty busy port. It used to be one of the biggest ports for importing rice into this country, but it's going to have a massive impact, but it's not one that retailers and consumers haven't seen coming for a long time. These negotiations have been ongoing. The fact that they hit a standstill today, very interesting with the strike 2 days out, but the impact, according to a bunch of different investment banks, is somewhere to the degree of $5 to $6 billion a day, or 0.5% of GDP, but it depends on how long this lasts. If this is a prolonged strike that lasts several weeks or even into November, that's going to severely crimp the holiday shopping season. A lot of orders are coming in already. If you think about Christmas trees, if you think about apparel, if you think about electronics, they come into the eastern seaports. So a lot of retailers have already made arrangements to have their goods routed around to the West Coast ports where they do have a deal in place. That just means higher costs, though, and more time. Guess who pays those higher costs? Consumers, because retailers tack those costs onto us as we go into the holiday shopping season.
That's what I wanted to ask you. So somebody's waking up, looking at this news. Is there anything they can do to insulate themselves from the effect of this?
Yeah, a lot of people have already started the holiday shopping season early, and that's pretty much happens every single year now. We already had Summerween, but the holiday shopping season is already underway. As soon as we get into October, you know you're going to see those Christmas trees, those decorations. So pre-order if you want, if you're concerned that your goods aren't going to make it, or decide that you're going to wait it out and be okay with a potentially higher price or not getting your item. But a lot of people are making those orders right now. When you think about the things that come into the eastern seaports, it's a lot of apparel, it's a lot of food, right? And a lot of that already has tariffs on it. So think about increased costs for each of those items. We're not talking about a doubling in cost, but we're talking about a percentage increase in each of those items. So things are going to get more expensive. The supply chain is going to get pinched again. Remember, we went through that in 2021 and 2022. You wonder where a lot of that inflation came from. It came from government stimulus, and it came from a supply chain that couldn't handle all these goods coming through our ports and through our airports.
Caitlin talked about it a little bit. Any chance the government can step in to alleviate this situation in some way? There's been talk about whether President Biden can issue some sort of executive action, because we are dealing with kind of a tumultuous situation at this point. Anything you anticipate, anything kind of precedent like this?
There's definitely a precedent, and we've seen the government and the president step in and to avert strikes and order those that are on strike to come back to work. I do not think it's going to happen just because we are in an election season and we're about 6-7 weeks out from a major decision here. So when the government steps into that, they step into a bigger pile, so to speak. That said, I do think that we'll probably see some negotiation and resolution, because the workers on the West Coast ports have already reached a deal. That's what a lot of these workers on the East Coast, the Teamsters, want. They want a similar deal to what was reached on the West Coast. So there is some marker out there for what a deal could look like going forward. I expect negotiations to continue. It wouldn't be crazy to see the president step in and order the stoppage of the work stoppage, but I don't expect it because of the election being so close to where we are today.
And we can't anticipate an 11th hour deal. This looks like it might be happening. And then the question becomes, what are the trickle-down effects? You talked about it a little bit, but, you know, one of the things that we were planning on talking about today until the breaking news was the idea of, you know, people are spending, even though there's high credit card debt right now, even though we have a high unemployment rate. If this strike happens, that unemployment rate's going to go up, right?
It's going to go up, but the unemployment rate, and just to put it in historical context, we're at somewhere around 4.2%. Full employment in this country is between 3.5% and 4%. We're just a little bit higher than that. And the way we survey for people about whether or not they're working is still pretty antiquated. I know you know that we had 810,000 job revisions just for the month March to March time period, because it's an inexact science. That said, the labor market is still relatively strong right now, even though unemployment has been rising and we see mounting layoffs in different sectors, but we're still pretty close to full employment. This is about 40,000 workers. It will drive the unemployment rate higher because survey, those people will say they're not working. It's not going to drive us into 4.5%, 5%, which is a red alert zone. Right now, we're still in a pretty good spot in terms of the labor market.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.